The political arrest of the leader of the Albanian opposition, Sali Berisha. The case of Partizani Club, a pyramid of fraud. The removal of immunity and the house arrest of the president of the Democratic Party, Sali Berisha, and Professor Albert Maltesi, whilst being only under investigation by order of Edi Rama, is a pyramid political fraud based on false allegations, defamations, and concealment of hundreds of official documents. On October 20th, the Special Court on Corruption and Organized Crime, SCCOC, announced that, at the request of the Special Prosecutor on Corruption and Organized Crime, SPCOC, and without the prior approval of the Parliament, it had decided to impose a ban on travel abroad as well as the obligation to appear before police to the chairman of the Democratic Party, Sali Berisha. It also decided on the imprisonment of his son-in-law, Professor Dr. Albert Maltesi. These measures were decided in the ambit of an investigation against Berisha for passive corruption and against Maltesi for passive corruption and laundering the proceeds of the criminal offence. They were undertaken without filing criminal charges, without indicating how these criminal acts were carried out, without providing any evidence, facts or documents, and in defiance of the legal criteria for their imposition. Berisha rejected these measures that were in flagrant violation of Article 73, Paragraph 2 of the Constitution, according to which an MP cannot be arrested or deprived of his freedom in any form or be subjected to a personal or home search without the authorization of the Parliament. During the 32 years of pluralism, these measures have never been established without the prior approval of the Parliament. In 2012, Berisha requested the abrogation of Article 73, Paragraph 2 of the Constitution, but Edi Rama flatly rejected the proposal. Hence only the removal of the authorization for investigation was passed. On December 12, 2023, the prosecutors addressed the Parliament to replace the illegal restrictive measures of October 20th with the waiver of immunity, imprisonment or house arrest against Berisha because he had disobeyed the unconstitutional order of the court. Unlike any other precedent, the request submitted to the Parliament was not accompanied by any file with evidence and facts, but only with the unconstitutional court decision. The approval of this political decision was announced in the media on December 14, 2023, before any discussion in the pertinent commission or the plenary session by the chairman of the SP parliamentary group, Bleda Chuchi, who stated that the SP group would approve the measures against Berisha.
Pa diskutim, qëndrimi jonë është shumë I qartë, I prerë në këtë pikë. Kur vjen puna, kur SPAK-u kërkon një gjë të tillë në parlament, kështu që kjo nuk diskutohet fare që ne do ta votojmë pro.
The Parliament, in violation of the Constitution, voted on December 21, 2023, to remove Berisha's immunity for measures of arrest in prison or at home without presenting a report in the plenary session as required by the law and without giving the floor to Berisha, who asked to speak after the plenary hall would be vacated by over 50 guards that had been solicited by the Speaker of the Parliament.
Nuk doni ta merrni fjalën. Atëherë nuk dëshiron deputeti Berisha të marrë fjalën. Atëherë ju ftoj kolegë deputet opozitës të qëndroni ulur për të dëgjuar raportin, dy raportet.
On December 30th, 2023, in open opposition to the European Convention of Human Rights and the Albanian Constitution, the SCCOC ordered Sali Berisha under house arrest and to desist from all communications as a person elected by vote with other people except members of his narrow family. The security measures were decided by the prosecutor Arben Kraya, a former officer of Enver Hoxha's secret police who was removed from office in 1996 because of the lustration law, and Enkeleda Milonai, denounced by Berisha for her human rights abuses and alleged connections to crime. The measures were approved in full conflict of interest by the president of the SCCOC, Irena Gjoka, who was dismissed from office on 8th of February 1996 for a lack of professional competence by former President Sali Berisha, at the time also President of the High Council of Justice. After 3 years of exhaustive investigations of this case, conducted not on a particular person, a legal loophole used to extend the investigation period, not a single legal violation was found. No facts, no evidence, no documents or testimonies from tens of witnesses could prove any wrongdoing from Sali Berisha and Jam Arber Maltesi. Unable to bring legal charges against them, the political prosecutors serving the orders of Edi Rama on October 2, 2023, started the same investigation against Sali Berisha and Maltesi, and in an unprecedented case, they placed them under security measures while still in the investigation stage, without ever giving them the right to speak and questioning them on this case. The investigation of the privatization of the Partizani Sports Club was opened after a fabricated lawsuit of the chairman of the parliamentary group of the Socialist Party, Taulant Bala. The lawsuit was filed on December 1, 2020, and the criminal proceedings were registered on the same day by the prosecutor Milonai. The main accusation of Taulant Bala was based on the fiction that the land did not belong to the landowners, originally expropriated by the communist regime, because according to him, they had already been expropriated in the 1940s by the Italian authorities during the World War II Italian occupation. Official registers from the Cadastre Office of 1935, 1943 and 1945 prove that the land was the property of the 5 landlord families, including the Begea family, of whom Jam Arber Maltesi is heir. The prosecutors purposely ignored the official journals of the 40s, which unequivocally proved that the land in which later the Partizani Club was established was never expropriated by the Italians, but only put under requisition, a temporary security measure by royal decree of April 1942, and that in June 1943 this requisition was postponed for another 6 months. Hence, the land was still under requisition in September 1943 when Italy capitulated. The prosecutors have engaged in fabrications by saying that the process of recognition, return of property and privatization of the buildings built on it started after 2005. The documents prove that the process started in 1995 to 1996. According to the official documents signed by the President of the Republic in 2004, the Partizani Football Club was not part of the Armed Forces deployment plan. Despite the clarity of the official documents administered in the court file, the prosecutors and the court attempt in dozens of pages to create confusion about this fact. The prosecutors claimed that the property of the landowner families did not include the entire area of the former club. But the official maps prove that the lands of the 5 owner families are positioned adjacently, without spaces in between, on an area of 21,000 square meters bigger than the surface of the former club. This includes also the 1,500 square meters of the land of the Begea family that Edi Rama gave to his friend and media businessman Carlo Bolino. The prosecutors claim that the process of privatization of the Partizani Club was initiated by the government led by Berisha. This is a blatant lie and concealment of official documents that have been submitted to the SPCOC in September 2023 and prove otherwise. Official communications between the socialist ministers Angeli and Closi prove that the procedures of the privatization of the Partizani Club was initiated by the socialist government in 2005 on the account of another entity that had occupied the property illegally. According to the latter's testimony, he withdrew from the process on his lawyer's advice that Law No. 9235, dated 19th of July 2004, on the return and compensation of properties, in Article 7, Paragraph 2, established that immovable properties which are proposed for alienation ought to be transferred to the former owners expropriated during communism. The political prosecutors claim that the laws and decisions of the DP government in implementation of its program in the domain of ownership were made to favor Maltesi. In fact, those reforms have never targeted a particular person. Those reforms made possible during the short period of 2006 to 2012 the return of 1,577,400,000 square meters of property to more than 500,000 legitimate owners. One of them, Maltesi, received by restitution 410 square meters of his family's land confiscated 60 years ago by the communist regime. Prosecutors claim that the decision of the Council of Ministers DCM number 1638 dated 17th of December 2008 on the evaluation criteria of state property that is privatized or transformed and on the sale procedure, which in accordance with its program establishes the use of vouchers in privatization processes in favor of all citizens, was adopted to favorize Maltesi in the privatization of sports club Partizani. DCM number 1638, due to which the Albanian citizens have benefited over 40 million euros, was adopted only 1 month after the landowner families of the Partizani club paid in currency, bank transfers in lek, almost 90% of the total value. In the remaining 10%, the value of vouchers used by Professor Maltesi was worth a total of 64 euros. The claim that Berisha favored Maltesi by changing the zoning of the area from a sports area to a residential zone is fictitious. According to the urban planning law, the central government had no competence for such decisions. The decision of the Constitutional Court, CC, dated 10th of November 2006, voided the normative act that allowed the prefect to convene the KRRT, a local government land use planning entity. Further, the decision dated 21st of December 2006 of the CC prohibited any change of the decisions of the KRRT by the central government, making the signing of the decisions of the KRRT by the government a formal act. When the Berisha government intervened in 2005 to stop the road overpass works at Zoguizi for endangering residents' lives, it did so through passing a law enabling the intervention of the prefect. But Edi Rama brought to Tirana Giovanni Di Stasi, the president of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities of the Council of Europe, who issued a press release on 17th of January 2006, stating that the government's intervention of the planning and administration of the territory contradicted the European Charter of Local Autonomy. This press release served Edi Rama as a permit to change dozens of areas from sportive to residential ones during 2006. The change of zoning of a part of the Partizani club from a sports to an urban area was adopted by Edi Rama in decision number 132/J, dated 8th of June 2006 of the KRRT. The decision was taken ex officio, i.e. without the landowner's request. In 2008, the study of functional zoning signed by Edi Rama and 12 of his directors designated the entire area of the club and beyond as an urban area. The change of the functional zoning was done by Edi Rama prior to the privatization of the club's buildings. This document has also been hidden by the SPCOC. In 2008, Edi Rama signed the site development permit and conditionally approved the construction permit. These documents are hidden by the SPCOC and the SCCOC, who state that the construction permits were given only by Basha. In fact, these permits were given by Rama, Basha, and Veliaj. When Edi Rama learned that one amongst dozens of landowners was Jam Arbor Maltesi, he refused to issue the construction permit, despite being ordered by a final court verdict to do so. These court decisions were also initially hidden by the SPCOC. The prosecutors had hidden the 3 illegal orders from the chief inspector of the construction police of Edi Rama's run municipality to block the construction, despite the courts having adopted a final verdict ordering Rama to issue the permit, which was approved by the KRRT. The SPCOC had hidden the final decisions of the courts that penalized Edi Rama for dereliction of duty and the damage caused by the illegal blocking of works by an amount exceeding 320,000 euros. Despite the above, in 20,000 pages of the case file, the prosecutors never mentioned the name of Edi Rama. SPCOC have hidden the final court verdict establishing the falsification by third parties of the ownership of the swimming pool, which the 5 landowner families were obliged to buy as it was part of the Partizani club. To support Taulant Bala's slander that Jamara Maltesi entered as an investor with only 114 square meters of land, came out with 5.4 million euros profit, the prosecutors have hidden the fact that the land he inherited was 410 square meters and not 114. For the same purpose, they have hidden more than 20 contracts of over 2,100 square meters of land purchases by Maltesi from other owners, which prove that Maltesi entered as an investor not with 114 square meters, but with over 2,500 square meters of land. For the same purpose, they have hidden 350 contracts of sales of apartments and shops during the period from 2010 to 2011 before commencement of the construction work at a price 20% lower than the market, which enabled the project to become self-financing. The prosecutors do not refer to the decision of the Municipal Council No. 57 dated 24th of December 2012, which approved the General Regulatory Plan of Tirana, which also provided for the construction of a school on a parcel of land that the landowners left for charity. The land destined for the school, worth 1.2 million euros, which the noble landowners forfeited in favor of the community, was given by Edi Rama for the value of €1 to his friend and media businessman Carlo Bolino by means of 4 illegal and personalized DCMs. Contrary to the SPCOC's claim that the sports club was operating normally in 2008, official documents bearing the signature of Edi Rama, hidden by the SPCOC, show that at that time almost all facilities were occupied by illegal settlers. The Deputy Minister of Sports in 2006, in his letter No. 6714/1, dated 3rd of August 2006, wrote that his ministry had not been able to take over the Partizani Multisports Club into its inventory as it was occupied by informal settlers. According to the director of the Command of Support, the Ministry of Defense neither owned nor administrated the former Partizani football club. The task force he sent was forcibly chased away by the usurpers. For years, the state did not earn a single penny from the Partizani sports clubs, as its territory and buildings were illegally occupied by over 42 informal families and entities that conducted informal activity while the landowners were disenfranchised and did not enjoy their legal property rights. The prosecutors had hidden the contract of the Begea family members with the construction company, according to which all of its members had the right to invest in the development of the property up to 25% of their property share. They refrained from participating in the investment because of the difficulties created by Rama's political pressure as well as the usurpation of property. Only Professor Maltesi and 2 other co-owners agreed to co-invest in the development of the property. At first, during 2008 to 2014, they formalized their legal relationship with a notarized contract, the existence of which the prosecutors maliciously ignore. For the period from 2014 onwards, they turned their relationship into an LLC and registered their participation in writing according to the legal requirement. Both during the period of contractual organization as well as in the form of an LLC, their activity as an entity and as individual investors was in full compliance with the tax legislation and the mandatory legal requirement on transparency and disclosure to the pertinent bodies. In conclusion, the recognition, restitution of property and privatization of the dilapidated buildings of the Partizani Club have been carried out in full compliance with the law. The rightful owners have received their property, which was confiscated 60 years ago, and the state has not suffered any damage. No officials of any DP or SP government who signed the documents of this process from 1995 to 2009 are under criminal investigation because they have followed the law strictly. Professor Maltesi received 410 square meters of land owned by his family in accordance with the law. Only during the period 2006 to 2012, almost 1,577,400,000 square meters has been restituted to more than 500,000 landowners. The land that the landowner families forfeited in favor of construction of a school for the community, including 1,500 square meters of land belonging to the Bigea family of Professor Maltesi, was donated by Edi Rama to his friend and media businessman Carlo Bolino for the symbolic price of €1 by means of 4 personalized and illegal DCMs. The change of zoning of the land as an exclusive legal right of the local government was done by Edi Rama before privatization. The privatization of the club's dilapidated buildings was initiated by the SP government led by Fatos Nano and completed in accordance with the law by the DP government led by Berisha. The case of the Partizani club is a pyramid of political fraud, contrived on false accusations and slander from the socialist leadership, on concealment of hundreds of documents and manipulations of the SPCOC upon orders from Edi Rama for the purpose of politically striking the Democratic Party and Sali Berisha. Whilst being only under investigation, Sali Berisha has been placed under 3 security measures, typical of a dictatorship, although his signature does not appear in any document of this process and there is no evidence of interference or pressure on his part against any person involved. The ban on communications with anyone but his immediate family members, imposed to Berisha by the SCCOC, SPCOC and the Parliament, all under complete control of Edi Rama, violates the European Convention of Human Rights and Article 17 of the Constitution of Albania, according to which the limitation of fundamental constitutional rights is done only by law. Professor Maltesi was brutally arrested and then put under house arrest, and his assets were seized whilst he is only under investigation. His only blame was being the son-in-law of Sali Berisha. He was imprisoned for his property, just as the communists imprisoned and shot his ancestors since 1945 because of their class appurtenance and possessions. To fabricate this file, Edi Rama chose persons in open conflict of interest dismissed by Berisha, such as the former officer of Hoxha's secret police for corruption, or denounced by him for their ties to criminal groups. These measures were taken because Rama lost his grip on the opposition upon Berisha's return after he was declared non grata by the State Department and the Home Office for corruption without a single fact or proof, but only pursuant to the corrupt lobbying of Rama's mentor George Soros and the corrupt mechanisms of McGonagall. Rama took these measures after the opposition started protests against his blocking of the parliamentary investigation into the McGonagall scandal and the multi-billion-dollar corrupt affairs of the incinerators, Dubai City of Durrës, and dozens of other PPPs bearing his signature. He took these measures after the opposition denounced his direct connections with the drug cartels in Albania and the region, with the Albanian bosses of Sinaloa in Mexico, with their licensing as strategic investors, as well as the encrypted conversations with criminal organizations through Sky ECC. Rama undertook these measures under the influence of Charles McGonagall's judicial process relating to the Albanian case that will take place in February in Washington. The case files show that Edi Rama, McGonagall, Dorian Duchka, and Agron Neza acted as a structured criminal group. From 2007 to 2020, this group imposed multi-million-dollar fines on businessmen in Tirana and in the region by promising or blackmailing them to be removed or included in the US government blacklist. McGonagall, the former head of FBI counterintelligence for New York, was paid by Rama through the former agent of the Albanian secret police, Nezaj, some $225,000 for damaging the opposition in Albania and for the designation of Berisha as persona non grata. The return of Berisha shattered Edi Rama's dream of ruling Albania, turned under his government to be the first and only narco-state in Europe without an opposition or with an opposition controlled by him, and to obtain a new governing mandate based on electoral fraud. With this act, Edi Rama shows that he is a loyal successor of his father, Krstash Rama, the deputy of Ramiz Ali and Najmiya Hoxha, who on August 8, 1988 signed the public hanging of the poet Hafzi Nela for the crime of writing a poem about free speech.
Spaku në këtë rast ka i detyrim që te i kalon shtetasin e ndaluar familjarisht të hyrë Shtetet e Bashkuara. Duhet ja heqë Shqipërisë këtë gur nga qafa, duke e ndarë. Ka bazë, s'ka bazë. Jemi vetë përmbajtur deri ku tani nuk mban më përballë kësaj tallje të madhe, durimi ynë po soset. Zonja dhe zotërinj të Spakut, zgjohuni, po delegjitimohet Spaku dhe i gjithë sistemi i drejtësisë.
For all the above reasons, Edi Rama, on April 9th and May 7th, 2022 respectively, in the Congress and in the Assembly of the SP, publicly requested SPCOC to prosecute Sali Berisha, who was designated non grata. The political prosecutors executed his directive.